Hello there, and welcome to another episode of the One Man Band. I'm one of your co hosts here, Mark Browner, and this is the man of the hour, J.R. Rodriguez.
Hello. Today, in this episode, I'm going to pick up where I left off in the last one. I believe in the last episode, I concluded that episode with talking about Venganza.
Right.
So after Venganza, the next movie that I shot was called Who Shot JR? And before I get into any more about Who Shot JR, I want to talk about somebody that was very important in helping me getting started, and his name is Nick Scamardi. I mentioned in the last video that I had this professional deck, that I was able to do editing and insert and all that. Well, that deck was bought by Nick Scamardi. He bought that deck to help me get my filmmaking career started, because I had the camera, but I didn't have any way to edit the content, the footage. And so...
And this was back in the time when professional editing equipment was very expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the deck was $1,000.
Whoa.
So nothing to sneeze at, And God bless Nick. He was feeling me. We were working together at Executive Copy, and that's how we got to know each other, and we became really good friends. I just wanted to touch on that Nick Scamardi, I know you're out there, hopefully watching. God bless you. Hopefully one day I could do something that will justify that you made that investment in me. So God bless you. I love you, Nick, wherever you're at.
But that kind of provided you the equipment you needed to make the movie.
I was lucky.
That you were talking about.
I was lucky that, and I guess it's all about this universe of attraction, right? When you have an intention and you align yourself with intention, then you draw all the right people to you, to help you achieve those intentions, if you're open and receptive to that, which I was. And so, my mom was one. She bought me the camera.
That's cool.
The killer camera.
Right.
And then Nick bought me the deck, and then Louis, he bought me a controller, so that I could then, not be doing editing on the fly, but, put it into a controller where it would do all the,
Controller is key.
I make all my edit decisions, and then it'll go and then do all the editing for me, right down to the frame.
Yeah.
And so
you had patrons before there was Patreon.
Yeah. I really, before I even knew what a Patreon was.
Right.
And so, I just want to, say that, I was lucky in that way, and I want to say, thank you to everyone who helped me. But moving on from that, like I said, the next movie was Who Shot JR? Now, the way I came up with the idea for shooting the movie Who Shot JR was that by this time I had already made quite a few little movies, and I didn't really have like one person that I could count on to be like the lead, and somebody who
someone you could rely on who is a leading actor
to play the lead in my movie.
Right.
And so when I couldn't really trust or depend on anyone, then I decided I'm going to just act in my own movies, because I didn't have to worry about me flaking out on myself.
Right.
I was always reliable for myself. Who Shot JR was in response to a fear that I was living with in Philadelphia. It's funny because when I heard David Lynch's interview talking about his experience of living in Philadelphia, he talked about this constant sense of fear that was always, that you know people live with in Philadelphia. And he's so right on. I really felt like I was going to end up like that, like a lot of people who were found, shot, and
Wow, that was like
nobody and nobody knows who did it. It's a mystery.
yeah.
And so it happened to my friend Chavito, from the guy who was in my first music video. Somebody killed him and nobody saw it, and it was a mystery as to who did it. So this was a common thing that would happen in the Badlands of Philadelphia where I grew up, And
Yeah.
so I decided to confront my fear. I decided to, make a movie about it.
Ah, okay.
And so
Uh-huh.
that's where Who Shot JR, took birth,
Okay. As a
And,
kind of a means of exercising that
And-
demon, sort of.
and also the fact that the reason why I was making this movie was
Uh,
I had already come to Austin to attend South by Southwest, to essentially get into Robert's face and,
okay.
see if I could make an impression on him and see if I could, create an opportunity for myself, to get my foot in the door with him.
Right.
What I didn't realize before I came to Austin was that, and I attended South by Southwest. Robert is like a rock star, and I don't think that all movie directors are quite, rock stars in the sense that, in the way that Robert is. Like the room where they held the panel discussion in the first festival that I went to was huge. In fact, I think it was 2 rooms, made into one, because they have like dividing walls, and they just opened it up and made one big room. It was standing room.
Wow.
There's so many people just there for Robert.
Uh-huh.
He was going to talk about guerrilla filmmaking. He was going to talk about the 10-minute film school and all this. And so I just kind of like faded into this whole mass of people, So every year I would come, I would get in his face and try to, make an impression. And every year he would look at me like, "Who are you?"
Aw. Yeah.
And I don't
Well,
blame him.
I mean, you have to understand that he has probably hundreds, thousands of people coming
Yes.
at him all the time, so
Yes.
probably wasn't anything personal at the time, so.
Yeah, and so I, by this time it would be like the third year in a row that I would be coming to Austin, and the 2 times that I came the first time, I felt like I came home defeated, like empty-handed. I didn't accomplish any kind of goal that I had set out for myself, and so
Okay.
I was starting to think, okay, do I go there again?
Mhm.
Do I spend all this money
Right.
to? And it was lucky that it always, fell. South by Southwest always fell after taxes, so I would use my tax return
Okay.
to come to Austin. And luckily, I had somebody that I
Alright.
could come stay with, Rick Quinones. Thank you, God bless you, and we'll be getting to Rick soon. But
All right. Cool.
but right now, yeah. So I had already decided. Okay, I'm not coming. I'm not gonna go to Austin because, I felt it was. I wasn't gonna get anything out of it. It was just gonna be a repeat of the last 2 years.
Okay, but you're bound to have had some fun while you were.
No,
out
I'm
there.
not saying that the experience was bad. The
Okay,
experience was never
okay.
bad. The
Right.
experience was always amazing. But
Yeah.
I came out here hoping to,
Right.
make an impression so that I could get my foot in the door.
Sure, you had
I was-
other goals other than just in having fun.
Yeah, because
Right.
back in Philly, it was nothing. I was like an oddball wanting to make movies,
Right.
And I'm telling everybody like, yeah, this guy Robert Rodriguez, he did it, and this and that,
Uh-huh.
and they're like, what? They don't know who Robert Rodriguez
Right.
is,
They're like Robert who?
and they could care less,
Okay. Okay.
And so I decided that I wasn't gonna come. Because usually I would get my tickets like way in advance, 5, 8 weeks in
Right, so
advance
you
to get a good rate.
Sure.
And so here it was already like close to 3 weeks out, and I got a wild hair up my ass.
Okay.
And I said, maybe this is the year.
Wow.
Every year I would convince myself, yeah, if I only get a chance, if I could just get his ear, man, I said, we're going to click, we're going to click because we have the same mind frame,
Yeah.
We're both Latinos, we're both Rodriguezes,
Yes.
Come on, we're about the same age.
What could go wrong?
Yeah. How can he not,
Yeah.
how can we
Call
not
you
hit
his
it
brother,
off,
right? Yeah.
Yeah. And so I decided, okay, I'm going to go, but I'm going to fucking film something before I go. I'm not going there fucking empty-handed again. You know?
Right.
I'm going to shoot something from here to when I have to leave, right? Which was about 2 weeks, 2.5 weeks, something like this. And I'm going to put it right in Robert's hand,
Right.
And this way,
It's like, yeah.
I'm not just this face that keeps showing up every year. Is in the book, he says, hey, you bring the movie, I'll bring the popcorn. Maybe I shouldn't take things literally from his from his book, and I wasn't expecting him to say, hey, come over, we'll watch it, and I'll break out some popcorn. But I was thinking like, hey, show me what you can do is what I took it like, you know?
Of course.
And so
you definitely
I took it. I mean, that book had a profound effect on my life. Profound. Okay?
Yeah.
And so I decided, okay, I'm going to shoot something. And then I quickly started just fishing. David Lynch, he talks about fishing for ideas, you know? And you got to know how to catch them. Like a dream catcher. You got to catch those ideas.
Right.
And so I decided, I want to make a movie. I want to put it in Robert's hands. And hell, maybe it could even be submitted into South by Southwest. What would go over well at South by Southwest? I was thinking of a title, right? And I said, wow, Who Shot J.R.? That's, when you think about the Dallas series,
Right,
it was huge. It was huge,
Kind of a callback.
Yeah. So I said, that's not bad. Who Shot J.R.? My friend Chavito was murdered, and I was like, I'm gonna do something on that, dealing with my fear, because I always felt like that was gonna happen to me, as I had made some enemies. I mean, it's almost impossible not to make enemies in an environment like Philadelphia, where it's a dangerous city.
Right.
Plain and simple. It's very dangerous. There's so much corruption within the city and the police and all this. Just really a dangerous city to grow up and to live in. So I always felt kind of like Carlito's Way, right? I was never gonna make it. Just before I was gonna, be able to actually get away, boom, something was gonna happen.
Right, and fuck it up for you, right?
So I decided this is what I'm gonna make a movie about, to deal with this fear. A lot of people that wanted to be in my movies, they didn't want to die. They didn't want to die in the movie. They felt very superstitious about that.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
And so
that's interesting. Like they were afraid that it would come true somehow later on because they
in my
make
movie,
believe, right? Okay.
Yeah. So in my movie, I wasn't worried about that.
Yeah. Well, of course not.
I then I start scouting out some locations, and I started rounding up some of my entourage that I have grown. People who have been in my movies or fans of my movies that want to be in my next movie. People always kept bugging me every time they see me. Man, when are you gonna make another movie? When are you gonna make another movie?
Well, that's good. So
yeah, I don't know.
It's like an instant.
I left a large following when I moved away from Philadelphia, and then I thought, I could build up another following here. No, I've been eating a lot of shit in Austin when it comes to that. Because
Yeah.
it's very cliquish. And, we have these studios here where, people much rather be an extra
Mm-hmm.
in a Hollywood movie
Right.
where they might be around a celebrity. They're
Yeah.
getting paid, they're getting fed,
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's about.
It's a pretty cool gig, Working on an independent film where you're not getting paid and maybe the movie's not even going to ever go anywhere, it might not even be completed,
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
Not too many people are eager to get involved in that. So
But yeah.
it was hard for me, to establish myself here, But anyway,
Sure, I understand that.
who shot JR?
With his wife.
So once I figured out what direction I was, what the title was, what direction I'm going with the movie, I decided to do a whodunit.
Used to work for
It's like right now we don't know who killed my friend
guy's the
Chavito,
killer.
Right.
and it's a very common thing. But we all start to kind of, surmise like, oh, I know he had a problem with so and so from such and such place.
Right.
I wonder if it was him.
My attitude is,
Oh, but he had a problem over here.
Fuck you.
So I wanted to,
Everybody had a theory.
yeah.
Right.
So the idea that I had was I would be murdered, but you don't know how it happened. You would just
No, he didn't
go
try to
through the
embarrass
whole
me.
scenario of someone finding me dead, and then from there it would jump to my funeral. From my funeral, then my cousin in the movie would conduct his own investigation into trying to figure out who did this to me, and
Yeah.
Fucked
so
up.
we have all these
Never turn
flashbacks
back when your opponent-
with me doing good things, having confrontations with people, and things like this. And then at the end, you find out who did it. It was like a whodunit,
He's
Oh,
still
I
gambling
see.
every week.
Yeah. It's definitely a murder mystery.
I probably
So,
shot him.
I figured like by then I had already gotten really good at shooting and editing. Like I knew
love
once
saying
I knew
shit
how to
like that.
shoot things so that when I went to edit it, it would all work. So I got really good at that, and
That's the
so
type of motherfucker.
what I started doing was every day I just went and
Louis hated when
I would
did
shoot a
things
different
like
like flashback or a different scene for the movie.
Right. What was your shooting schedule? You had like a week.
A
that
week, I had a week to shoot, so I would shoot maybe 2-3
Oh my
scenes
God, yeah.
in one day with different people at different locations.
Right.
I mean, I was running around like a chicken with his head cut off,
Yes.
and I
Man on a
was just,
mission.
I was borrowing, stealing. I never stole anything, but
Right. I know what you mean. That's the figure of
taking,
speech. Yeah.
just take. In Philly, we have a saying: you only get what you're organized to take. I had one guy like fall out on me
He's gonna go
Uh-huh.
around
because he had a seizure, passed out, and bam, he fell right on his face. So his lips and all that were busted up.
He's
They're
gonna
the-
So
they're
he
the
didn't want to come
filming.
out. Right before, during the filming, this happened to him
Oh shit.
in his personal life. And so
and Louis gonna
when it came to us shooting, he didn't want
Uh-huh.
to shoot because his mouth. And so I went and replaced him
Uh-huh.
with somebody else. I mean, it was like quick. I replaced him, right?
Right. You had
And
no
then-
time to be dawdling.
Yeah, the guy that I replaced him with, then he flaked out on me. And then the guy who I replaced
His lips healed.
slips heel, and he's back in.
Okay. So did you have to reshoot all the scenes that the other guy had been in?
I think with him, I only shot one scene.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
yeah, I had to
So-
reshoot that,
But it wasn't too hard.
it wasn't hard.
Okay.
And I was not a stickler for, hey, you got to get this right. It was like, you were lucky if you had 3 tries at it.
Right.
You know?
It's like, we just got to get this
A
done.
lot of times
we got to
it
get
went-
this shot.
a lot of times it went on one take. That's good. Move on.
Right.
Because I felt like the more you were asking of people, the more
Mhm.
like stress
Sure.
they got,
Yeah.
you know?
The harder it becomes, they get camera shock.
Yeah, so I always
Mm-hmm.
tried to find real easy stuff to start people off, you know?
Right. and
So
work
that
into
they
it.
can get some confidence in them
Mhm.
and not worry too much about, oh, I'm going to make a mistake. And
Right.
whenever somebody did make a mistake, we all laughed about it,
Yeah.
you know? We would all laugh and it was like, hey, you know,
Yeah, that's
I
the
make
only way.
mistakes. You make mistakes. Yours was funny, you know.
Right, because
You're
yeah,
that's gonna be in the bloopers. It became
There
like,
you go.
oh, it's gonna be in the bloopers
there's a
and this and
blooper
that.
reel.
Which for some people,
Uh-huh.
it stressed them even more. Like, oh,
Oh, it's like, oh
you're
no,
gonna make
I
a
look like an
mockery of
idiot.
me. You know? So it's a balancing act, you know. But
yeah.
so, I needed a funeral home to do, a funeral scene.
Okay.
So, I asked Louis,
Okay.
Patron.
Did he work at one?
No,
Okay.
the need to. Remember, Louis was the guy who
Oh, right,
did
right, right.
the numbers and stuff.
Yeah, he was kind of a big man around town, so to
In
speak.
in his neighborhood,
Right.
whatever,
Well, yeah.
in his circle.
Yeah.
Okay, yes,
That's all we're saying.
that's all we're saying. All right. Rest in peace, Louis.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I came to him. I was like, Louis, I need to do a funeral scene. You know, what am I gonna do? And he's like, I got it.
Mm-hmm.
He called this funeral home. He calls the owner of the funeral home
Wow.
on his personal phone. Hey, how you doing? And he says, I hate to bother you. And the guy's like, oh no, Louis, you anytime you call me anytime.
Wow.
He'll do whatever for Louis, right?
Right.
So Louis like, yeah, I just need a favor from you. And he's like, I'm helping my friend, shoot a movie, and we need to do a scene in a funeral home.
Right.
And he was like, Louis, when do you need it? When do you want it?
Wow.
He's like, hey, whenever it's not an inconvenience for you.
So anything he wanted.
So he's
Is it
like,
that?
Louis, you come on such and such day. I have opening that day. He's like, I won't be here, but my son will be here, and he'll help you with whatever you need. Okay.
Nice. Very
Zero. We paid for that.
Wow.
You know why he did it for free?
Um.
Because Louis had brought so much business to him. Because in the Badlands, like I told you, right, people get killed,
Right.
and like very common, and we don't know who did it, and so a lot of these people who get murdered, their family don't have money to bury them. It's like out of the blue. When something
okay.
like that comes out of the blue,
Right.
and these,
So you're saying Louis would
so they
pay,
would come.
pay
So
for
they
the
would come
funeral?
to Louis. They would come to Louis because they knew Louis had money. And
Right.
they would come to Louis and they would say, "Hey, Louis, can you help me, please?
Mm-hmm.
This and this happened and whatnot." And Louis
Wow.
would never turn anybody down.
Wow.
So he would be like, "No problem." Boom. Go and call this guy
Dang.
and tell him that I sent you.
Damn.
And he
It's like
would pay for it.
He's
you
like
know?
the benevolent godfather.
And these people, if you wanted your body sent to Puerto Rico,
Uh-huh.
they could make all those arrangements and all.
Wow.
And so the guy gave us the funeral home. So
Dang.
the day of the scene for the funeral home, I was expecting a lot more people to show up.
Right?
Only the true loyal ones like you showed up.
Right. If I'd have been around in those days, I would have showed up. Right.
So I said to myself, that's okay. That's okay. I said, I'm gonna do a voiceover, and in the narration, the voiceover, I'll just mention that there was a bomb threat at the funeral home.
Oh.
Somebody threatened to bomb the funeral home, and so Louis gave
just-
specific orders not to let anybody in to the funeral home until he gets there.
Okay. All right.
And so that would kind of explain why there's only like just a few people there, And so
So you worked the small crowd, the small number of people showed up. You worked it into the script.
you work it, you find an angle to make it work. He got there early. He made sure nobody went into the place, and make sure nobody went in until we got there, so nobody could go in and plant a bomb or something, And probably it was just noise, people threatening that they're gonna do something just to put fear, But Louis didn't take any chances.
Wow. Okay.
So we got that scene. Then I needed some jewelry and stuff like this, and everything just came. All the right people just came
Okay.
at the right time, and everything worked out. Like even the squib hits. I didn't have squibs, those little explosives.
Right. Right. Yeah.
So I had to invent a way to make the bullet hits. And so I had bought a prop gun a stage prop 9mm Beretta, and I used that gun to kill my friend in the movie, Dino.
Okay.
And, you know, here I'm playing a badass in the movie, but in real life, Dino was the badass. Like Dino was evil. Like Dino was somebody that you didn't want to cross.
Oh hell.
So he's twisted big time, you know, this guy.
Yeah.
But he was my friend.
Okay, fair enough.
He opened a music studio.
Was
He
he like-
opened a music studio. He said that I inspired him. I was like, dude, if I inspired you, why didn't you open a movie studio?
All
I
right.
don't have to be like this broke ass guy trying to make movies. I can have a big dog like you
guess-
behind me.
I guess he had his own. He had his own path.
Yeah, I mean, he's more into music. Yeah,
Right.
obviously.
Yeah.
And
Holy
so
crap.
then it turned out that studio was all just a front for him to move his weed.
Okay.
But
Well,
interesting story. So
all right. That
the
was.
studio, I kill him in his studio.
Oh, okay.
So it's a lot of that,
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah,
But when it came to killing me,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
we used a real gun, a
I
357
was like, what the hell?
snug nose. Okay,
Why?
these things they kick like a mule.
Right.
you know?
Why use that?
So we had good experience with the blank gun, right?
Yes.
With the prop gun. I shouldn't call it a blank gun, a prop gun, right?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, I could literally put it right here, boom, and you're not gonna feel a thing.
No.
Okay, but
Use
the
a real gun.
357 we bought blanks for it, and when we went to go buy the blanks, the guy who sells the owner of the store, we told him what kind of gun we had, and we needed blanks.
Yeah.
He went, he pulled a box, he put it on the counter. Then I proceeded to explain to him what I was going to do with the blanks and stuff. And he
Right.
grabbed the box and he put it back on the shelf. I said, hey, what are you doing? I need those. He's like, I'm not selling you anything. He's like, you don't know what you're doing. You're going to hurt yourself.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you talking about? Then he explained to me that a blank, it's got gunpowder in it, and it has a cotton, like
Wadding.
wadding.
Mm-hmm.
And when you fire that, the gunpowder doesn't come out straight. It comes out spraying out like that.
Right.
You know? And so he said that the gunpowder, when it hits you, it burns through whatever it hits, right? Your clothes, your skin, your flesh, and it keeps burning through until it burns itself out.
Yeah. That's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't. You don't want to be anywhere near.
Which was good that he
the
said
muzzle,
that.
right.
Because
You probably
I-
saved
I-
somebody's life.
my life, probably,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
But anyway, so we went to a couple other gun stores, and I guess he must have like spread the word because nobody wanted to sell us the blanks. So then eventually I got it from Benny. I got him to get it for me because he had a lot of connections.
Okay.
And then we started experimenting, and he was right, you know.
a lot of force coming out of the muzzle.
Yeah.
Of that son of a bitch. Yes.
And so when we did the scene where I got shot in the car, I had put underneath me a Teflon vest. And it's a vest that comes for you to put in the front and in the back. You know,
Okay.
two-piece, right?
Where'd you get
So-
a Teflon vest from?
Huh? Benny.
Oh, okay. Of course.
So, exactly, right? There you go. I didn't have to pay for that thing. It's like, hey, Benny, I need a Teflon vest. You know?
All right.
So then, the vest I put on where it covered the top of me,
Yeah.
and then the other half, I flipped it upside down so that the wider shoulder part would be lower and cover my groin area, and then it overlapped over my stomach area.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
And we tested this on a board. We went and we put so we put fake blood inside of a sandwich bag, like about this big, right?
Wow.
And then with a sealer,
It's a big
we
sandwich
created pockets of blood. You see? So when you put your hand down, so when you put it up against the person, it
Right.
would have a pocket of blood here, pocket of blood there, pocket of blood there. Because if you didn't do that, all the blood would run down to to the bottom.
And if you popped it, it would be like black.
Yeah, and if you shoot up here, you're not gonna get any blood, you know.
Right.
So when we did it, we hit the pockets of blood,
Uh huh.
and the gunpowder, it burned through the clothes,
Yeah.
it burned through the plastic,
Yeah.
and then when it hit the actual blood,
Mm.
it diffused itself.
Right. It would be put out by the.
It would be
Right.
put out,
Yeah.
you know.
Uh-huh.
But then the blood would trickle out beautifully, so it made like a black, scorching
Right.
effect around the whole.
Realistic. Yeah.
So I was like, we did this. Then we took the shirt off and we took the bag off and we looked at the Teflon.
Uh-huh.
It's clean.
Okay.
It's like, we're good.
Right.
Let's go. Let's do it.
Okay.
And this was the last thing. I left this to be the last thing that we shoot, just in case anything, went wrong.
Right. That way you could. The movie could.
I wasn't
still
worried
be,
about anything until the guy from the gun store put that in my head. Then it was like, okay.
Yeah.
And even Louis was like being really stickler about, let's be extra, safe about this.
Okay.
So
Did he become your gun wrangler? So to speak.
kind of, yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, he knew everything about guns.
Okay.
And so I went and I then went and put the vest on me. I put the fake blood,
Mhm.
with the pockets and all.
Right.
And then the shirt, and I would put double face tape so that it would stick to the vest, and then the clothing could then stick so that the blood would trip out, not on the inside of the shirt.
Right. Okay.
And so we're all set.
Yeah.
I'm in position in Louis' car,
Right.
and the girl who's playing my wife is in the passenger seat. I have Louis standing outside the car, filming through the window.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And he's got a perfect angle at the very first shot. So the girl, she's nervous.
Sure.
She doesn't even want to do it.
Right.
And so she's like, okay, what about if I put it like that? She put it right on my heart,
No.
Well, first she was holding it out here, and I was like, oh, no. I said, you got to get closer than that,
Okay.
And when I acted like that, that made her really nervous. Like, oh, no. She's like, oh, I don't want to do
Right.
this. I don't want to do this. I'm like, no, you're okay. Just make sure you got to be like an inch away. I kind of explained to her.
Right.
And she wasn't sure, so she was like, what about if I just put it like this? And I thought about it for a second. I was like, that should work. I said, that should work. I didn't test it,
Yeah.
And so when we did it,
But that means all that force. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
yeah, because if you keep it away,
Mhm.
the force will be absorbed by the blood and the shirt and stuff and the vest.
So some of the gases will just escape to the side.
Yeah.
You know.
But when you press it up like this,
It's like all of
it's
that.
taking it all in, and all that burning gunpowder just hit that one spot. And so when she pressed on my shirt like that, it moved the blood away.
Wow.
See, there needs to be like a little pool of blood, right? And if I press like this,
right.
it pushes the blood away. So there's nothing to diffuse the burning gunpowder.
Oh shit.
The
Okay.
burning gunpowder managed to burn through the shirt, through the blood pocket,
Uh-huh.
and through one layer of the Teflon. And it started halfway through the second layer.
Oh shit.
And that
Okay,
was
pretty-
right on my heart.
You came pretty close.
Had
back.
that went through and kept burning, I would have died right there. It would have went
Yeah.
all the way through to my heart.
Right. And
So
then everybody would have known he shot JR.
so we went to go do it. I'm like, okay, you ready? I told Louis, are you ready? And I guess Louis started recording when I
Yeah.
said, are you ready?
Uh-huh.
And so the camera's rolling.
Mm-hmm.
I said, action.
Mm-hmm.
He hit the record button again and paused it, not knowing.
No. Okay.
And bang! I tell you, man, the reaction was not fake. I felt that. It felt like a mule just kicked me right in the chest. I felt like when you drop a rock in a little puddle, how I make those waves just ripple across. That's what I felt like. There were waves that rippled across my chest, you know?
Hell yeah.
And when I said cut,
Mm-hmm.
He hit the button again, and he started recording. So I got before and after, and I don't have that tape. Had that been like a fatal shot, he would have missed it.
Wow.
Like if I would have died as a result of that, he would have missed it.
Well, it's a good thing you didn't die then.
It's a good thing I didn't die.
Yeah,
That was not the goal.
Because
I wanna-
yeah, and plus
I
all
don't
that
wanna die
footage,
young,
all that
you know.
footage would have been lost.
Brandon Lee scenario, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would suck.
So that was the first shot, right?
Right.
Then I was like, okay, don't do that again. I said,
Not so close.
yeah, move it away.
Oh.
And so we did 3 more shots where she kept it at about 2 inches away, and it worked beautifully.
Great.
And it felt like a poof on
Right,
me.
'cause-
You know,
It's a huge difference
huge difference.
between point blank and just that much. Yeah. Amazing. Okay.
So
Wow.
that's a little bit of story about how, you know, some of the things that happened to me in, you know, shooting Who Shot JR. Then came the editing. You know?
Right. That was week number 2 is the editing.
Yeah. So in 1 week I shot everything, and then the second week I had to then sit down. And so what I did was, I knew I wanted to crank this out really quick, so I didn't waste my time. A lot of takes, no. You
Yeah.
got 2 or 3 takes, that's it.
Right.
Because the more takes, more footage I got to look through, more decisions I have to make. You know,
Yeah.
I just want to get this thing done and go and show something. You know, I don't want to go empty-handed.
Yeah.
And so I bust my ass for a week, like round the clock, because it was,
That's a
you
lot
know,
of footage to go through.
yeah, and I'm doing it with a camcorder. At this point, I had a controller
Right.
and
And your deck.
my deck, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a lot of experience. I was able to shoot all the footage from my movie on 1 2-hour high H tape, because
Wow.
I kept it to 1 take, 2 takes, you know.
Right.
So I managed to shoot everything on 1 cassette.
Okay. That's
Venganza,
very efficient.
Venganza, I went through a whole box of
Wow.
cassettes.
Wow.
And I was like, never again.
but
I said never. There were times where the camera was just rolling,
Yeah. Yeah.
and I was over here, you know, like
Right.
directing and getting the scenes ready, and there's like maybe 15 minutes of just the camera rolling like that.
Yeah.
Unusable footage, other than the B-roll or, you know, the bloopers or
Right,
behind the
right.
scenes, which I managed to use it for that. But I
Okay.
said in this one, I can't afford to do that, you know.
No.
So the whole movie was shot on one
One
cassette, which
2 hour.
I paid $20 for the cassette, you
right,
know,
Right.
and I shot this whole movie. I had no budget,
Mm-hmm.
0. I was broke, you know.
Right. Wow.
My wife was the only one that was working, you know.
Uh-huh.
So while she was working, I was running around making a movie.
Oh wow.
You know.
Okay.
And so after a week, I finished editing the movie.
She's a great wife, by the way.
So I edited the movie. I came to Austin.
Mm.
I submitted 1 copy, and then the other copy I kept with me so that I could hand it to Robert.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to the panel discussion that he was holding.
Okay.
Guess what it was on?
Good move. Guerrilla filmmaking.
Yeah. And so, and I never got tired of attending these, you know, he is a great speaker, you know. He's a great speaker and very inspirational.
Right.
If you listen to him, he'll make you believe you could do anything, you know.
Sure.
And so I,
You got to be a great mover of people in order to be a good director, I guess. Yeah.
and so I came here, I attended, met him again, I put it in his hands. I have a picture of me with him, and we were doing the Longhorn symbol.
Oh.
I really didn't even know too much. I just saw that there was a big thing here in Austin was, you know, Longhorns.
Oh, really?
Hook 'em horns, hook 'em horns. And Robert was like, you know, I was like, hey, you know, let's do the hook 'em horns. And because I believe he went to UT, right?
I have no idea.
I believe he did.
It's
And
possible.
so, you know, he's doing the hook 'em horns. He's like, I'm not really a sports guy, you know, like he's not really into sports, but whatever.
Okay.
And
so
he
it's
did
like,
it.
Whatever.
I felt so stupid afterwards, like, ah.
because you were like, I don't even know.
And then I realized, like, I never put my information on the copy.
On the copy of the
I just gave him a copy.
the videotape that
and
you handed to him.
But for me, it was like, yes,
I did it.
I did it.
Then you figure, he's gonna see the credits and he's gonna seek me out.
I don't know what the hell I was thinking, man.
Well,
I was naive. I was young. I didn't know any better. I mean,
sure. No. I mean, that had to be, at the time it felt like a great victory. I mean, you made this movie in 2 weeks' time, and you followed through.
no crew.
Right.
I lived on the third floor, right?
You had cast plenty.
I lived on the third floor apartment, right? And whenever I had to like gather my equipment to bring it with me, right? I had to grab all my stuff at one time and bring it down all at once. Because if I brought half my stuff, put it in my car, then went back up for the other half, when I come down, my shit's not going to be there.
Right.
And it's my neighborhood.
Yeah,
and guess what?
Yeah.
People are going to be like, I didn't see nothing.
Right.
You know?
Shit. Okay.
So
you're like, okay, I'm taking it all at once.
That's what it was. I was a one-man band.
Boy, no kidding. But
the only person that I ever saw making a movie in Philadelphia was Sylvester Stallone.
I have to admire your commitment at setting a goal to make a movie before South by Southwest. You shot it in 1 week. You edited it in another week. You got on a plane, flew to Austin, and you handed it to Robert Rodriguez. That was your goal, and you accomplished it. So
nobody in Philadelphia.
You should be proud of yourself for that.
None of my friends or anybody knew who the fuck Robert was. As much as I would explain and tell them about it, they just didn't know, and they really didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Well, yeah, they had their own. They were living in their own world.
Yeah.
You were living in the film world, and they were just whatever they were doing. So yeah, they didn't. Yeah.
So that was my experience with Who Shot JR. And I guess we're going to conclude this podcast.
Absolutely. That was a great story. I enjoyed listening to it, and I hope the viewers out there who see this enjoyed listening to it as well.
I'm glad that I'm doing these podcasts because I feel like I'm finally getting to tell my story,
Exactly.
Like so many people ask me, why you moved to Austin, And I moved to Austin because I fell in love with Austin. When I first came to Austin, it was a culture shock, yeah. Big time,
yeah.
And little by little, Austin just grew on me to where, it was to the point where whenever I had to come home from Austin, I had to call my wife and be like, hey, babe, yeah, I'm calling because can you remind me again, why am I leaving Austin? Why am I heading back? Oh, that's right, yeah, because you and the girls. Okay, yeah, all right, see you soon. All right, bye. Like, if I wasn't married and I didn't have kids, I wouldn't have left. I would have stayed.
Yeah.
Until my friend Rick kicked me out, which, I don't know.
Oh, all right.
I don't know. He kind of loves me. I don't know. I think we could have worked it out,
Nice,
but
nice.
He could have maybe adopted me,
All right.
But anyway,
cool.
We're going to conclude on that. So until next time, have a nice day.